I realized she'd already chosen him when she slid her phone across the counter and said, "I need you to stay out of this. Just be cool about it." Like I was an employee she was sending home early. It was late March in Savannah, the kind of week where the mornings were crisp and the afternoons felt like someone turned the sun up a notch. We lived in a second-floor apartment above a little dental office, and every weekday at 7:15 you could hear their front door chime and the soft hum of the air purifier kick on. My life ran on small, predictable sounds like that. Brianna and I had been together a little over 3 years. I was 35 and worked as a claims adjuster for a regional insurance company. I lived in emails, forms, and timelines. She was 33 and did event marketing for a hospitality group, which meant her job was equal parts creative and chaos. For a while, we balanced each other. I kept our bills smooth. She made our lives feel bigger than spreadsheets. We weren't married yet, but we were past the someday stage. 2 weeks earlier, we'd signed a holding agreement for a townhouse rental closer to her office because her commute was getting worse and my job had gone hybrid. We put down a $1,200 holding deposit and scheduled a move for April 12th. We'd also paid $650 to a local photographer for an engagement shoot in Forsyth Park, and Brianna had been texting outfit ideas like it was a fun little secret between us. That's why that Monday felt off right away. I came home around 6:30 p.m. and found her in the bedroom wearing a fitted blazer and heels, touching up her makeup in the mirror like she was headed to a presentation. That wasn't unusual on a workday, but it was unusual at that hour. She was normally in sweatpants by then, scrolling and telling me about whatever client had tried to change their mind at the last second. "Dinner plan changed," she said without turning around. "What changed it?" She paused, then picked up her phone. She had this new habit of turning the screen slightly away when she typed. It wasn't dramatic. It was subtle, like someone casually closing a door. "My ex is in town," she said. I waited because adults say sentences like that and then continue. She didn't. She just watched my face in the mirror. "Okay," I said. "Why is he in town?" She sighed like I was being difficult for asking a basic question. "He's here for a conference. He reached out. He wants to talk." "Talk about what?" Brianna capped her lipstick with a tight little click. "Closure. Old stuff. He had some things he wanted to say." I kept my voice even. "And where is this talk happening?" "At the Bramble House," she said, naming a boutique hotel bar near the river. Then she added, "It's not a date. Don't do that thing where you act like it's a date." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't pace. I didn't accuse. I just stood in the doorway and let the words land. "We have plans," I said. "We're meeting your sister and her husband at 8. She finally turned around. "I know. Tell them something came up." I stared at her for a second, trying to understand how she said it so easily, like my relationship with her family was just another calendar block that could be moved. "Bri," I said, "this is the first I'm hearing of this. You're dressed like you planned it." She gave me a quick, practiced smile. "I planned it because it's better planned than messy, and before you get weird, I need you to sit this one out. It would be awkward if you showed up." There it was, not just the X, not just the secrecy, the instruction, the downgrade. I felt something in my chest tighten and then go quiet, like a circuit breaker flipping. Not anger, not heartbreak exactly, more like clarity. "So you're asking me to stay home," I said, "while you meet your ex at a hotel bar, and you're telling me it's awkward if I'm there." She rolled her eyes. "I'm telling you to trust me." I nodded once. "Okay." That one word made her relax, like she'd won the negotiation she thought we were having. She grabbed her purse and started looking for her earrings. "Thank you," she said. "Just don't make this a whole thing." I looked past her to the closet where 2 cardboard boxes were still sitting from our move prep. On the top box, Brianna had written in marker, "Kitchen, new place," underlined twice. For the last month, we'd been acting like the future was locked in. New address, new routines, engagement photos, a lease that would start in April. A shared life that was getting more expensive, more intertwined, and harder to untangle the longer we waited. And she just told me to sit this one out. I stayed calm because that's what I do when something stops making sense. I gather information. I reduce damage. I make clean decisions. Brianna left at 7:05. I didn't follow her. I didn't text. I didn't call her sister. I didn't do anything dramatic. I cleaned the counter. I fed our dog, Milo. Then I picked up the shared iPad we kept on the living room side table, the one we used to stream shows and order groceries. It lit up with a notification banner before I even unlocked it. Receipt, the Bramble House, table reservation confirmed. It was from OpenTable, addressed to Brianna, but it had been forwarded to our shared Gmail because months ago she'd asked me to just put everything travel-related in the same inbox. It was still logged in, still shared, still lawful. The reservation was for 7:45 p.m. party of 2. Notes, anniversary surprise. I read that last part twice. My mouth went dry, but my hands stayed steady. People can argue intentions all day, but receipts don't do feelings, they do facts. I opened the email and checked the timestamp. It had been booked at 2:16 p.m. while she'd been texting me a meme about moving boxes. I didn't screenshot it to post anywhere. I didn't send it to her sister. I just forwarded it to my personal email with the subject line unchanged. Then I opened our lease folder in Google Drive, the one we both used, and pulled up the holding agreement for the townhouse. There was a clause in plain language. Holding deposit becomes non-refundable after 72 hours unless cancellation is submitted in writing before lease execution. We were still inside the window. I checked the date. We de-signed on Saturday at 11:30 a.m. It was Monday night. We had time. I sat at the kitchen table and wrote one clean email to the property manager. Subject: cancellation of holding agreement. Unit 3B, signed 3/22. Hi Marisol, I'm writing to cancel the holding agreement for Unit 3B signed on 3/22. Please confirm cancellation in writing. I understand the holding deposit refund is subject to the 72-hour policy, and we are within that window. Refund may be issued back to the original card on file. Thank you, Evan Parker. I sent it at 7:32 p.m., then I opened the moving company confirmation. We'd reserved a 16-foot truck and 2 movers for April 12th with a $150 deposit. The confirmation email was also in the shared inbox. I called the number on the receipt. A tired but polite woman answered. I gave the order number, verified my name, and canceled. She told me the deposit would be refunded within 5 to 7 business days. Then I emailed the photographer. Subject: cancel engagement session, April 5. Hi Dana, I need to cancel the engagement session scheduled for April 5. I understand the retainer is non-refundable per the contract. Please confirm cancellation in writing. Thank you, Evan. That one stung because it made it real in a way the OpenTable note hadn't, but I didn't bargain with reality. I respected it. By 8:10 p.m., I had 3 confirmations in my sent folder. By 8:30 p.m., I had started packing only what was clearly mine: clothes I'd bought, my work laptop, my personal documents, the cast iron pan my dad gave me, the framed photo of my late mother that Brianna always called too somber for the living room. I didn't take joint furniture. I didn't take the TV we split. I didn't empty the pantry. I did not make the kind of mess that turns into a fight later. I wrote a simple list on a legal pad because I knew what happens when people start claiming things in the fog of emotion. Sofa, joint TV, joint KitchenAid, hers gift from her aunt, air fryer, mine bed frame, hers pre-relationship mattress, joint dog, mine registered, vet under my name. At 10:40 p.m., I loaded 2 suitcases and 2 boxes into my car. Milo jumped in the back seat like it was a normal trip. I drove to my friend Calvin's place across town. Calvin and I had worked together years ago, and he'd told me more than once, if you ever need a couch, my guest room is yours. I never thought I'd take him up on it. I didn't give a speech, I just told him, things changed tonight, I need a few weeks. He looked at the boxes, then at my face and nodded. Guest room, S made up, bathrooms down the hall. I slept like someone who'd been holding a heavy bag for too long and finally set it down. The next morning at 6:58 a.m. I had a missed call from Brianna, then another at 7:01, then a text at 7:03. Where are you? I didn't respond immediately, not because I wanted to punish her, because I wanted everything I said to be clean and final. At 7:20 a.m., my phone lit up with an email from Marisol, the property manager. Hi Evan, cancellation confirmed. We will process the holding deposit refund back to the card ending 4821. Please allow 3-5 business days. Best, Marisol. I forwarded that to my personal email too. More facts, less arguing. At 7:45 a.m., I drove back to the apartment. I wanted to be there when we had the first real conversation. I didn't want her claiming I ghosted or abandoned anything. Calm logistics meant showing up, saying the truth, and leaving again. Brianna opened the door before I knocked. Her hair was messy, and her eyes were puffy like she'd slept in her makeup. She looked relieved to see me, and then her gaze dropped to the empty hook by the door where my jacket usually hung. "What is this?" she asked. "I moved out," I said. Her mouth opened, then closed, because I went to talk to him. "Because of what you said," I replied, "and because of what I found." Her face sharpened. "You went through my stuff." "No," I said. The reservation receipt hit the shared inbox on the shared iPad. It was for 2 people. The note said anniversary surprise. Her eyes flashed. That was just a joke. He must have written that. "Maybe," I said, "but you booked it at 2:16 yesterday. You didn't tell me, and you told me to stay out of it because it would be awkward." She crossed her arms like a teenager. "So you freaked out and ran away." "I didn't run," I said. "I canceled the townhouse holding agreement. I canceled the moving company. I canceled the engagement photos." Her eyebrows lifted. "You had no rights." "I was on the contracts," I said, "and I did it within the cancellation windows. You'll get an email." She stared at me like she was trying to find the angle that would make me the villain. "You're being dramatic." I kept my voice low. "I'm being precise." Then came the cycle, exactly like a script. First, minimization. "It was just a drink. You're acting like I cheated." Then blame. "If you weren't so rigid all the time, I wouldn't need closure from someone who understands me." Then insult. "You always think you're better because you're Mr. Paperwork. You don't even know how to feel things." Then tears, real tears, hot and sudden. "I didn't think you'd leave. I thought you'd be supportive." I didn't tell her she was a bad person. I didn't call her names. I didn't argue about feelings. I just stated boundaries like lines on a document. "I'm not competing for basic respect," I said. "I'm not staying in a relationship where I'm told to sit quietly while you celebrate something with your ex." She wiped her cheeks hard. "We can fix this. He doesn't matter." "Then you wouldn't have handled it like this," I said. She stepped closer, lowering her voice like she was trying a different tactic. "Where did you go? Who are you staying with?" "That's not information you need," I said. Her jaw tightened. "So now you're punishing me." "I'm protecting myself," I replied. "Those are different." I walked to the kitchen counter and picked up the folder where we kept lease documents. I pulled out the current apartment lease and pointed to the section we'd both initialed months ago. There was a clause about notice for moving out and how to handle a tenant leaving before the lease ended. It wasn't dramatic. It was standard. "I'm going to email the landlord today," I said. "I'll pay my portion through the end of April because that's fair and documented. After that, you can keep the place or you can move. That's your choice." "You can't do that," she snapped. "We live here together." "We did," I said. "I'm not doing a long argument. I'm done living together." I grabbed the last small box of my things from the hall closet. She stood in the doorway, eyes hard now, tears gone like a switch flipped. "You're really going to throw away 3 years," she said. "No," I replied. "I'm refusing to throw away the next 10. I left, no slam, no speech, just the soft click of the door and Milo's nails tapping behind me. Over the next week, she tried every door she could find. She called from her number. I let it go to voicemail. Then she called from an unknown number. I didn't answer. She emailed my work address because she knew it from a benefits form we'd filled out. The subject line was "Please don't do this." I forwarded it to my personal email, then replied once, short and clean. "Do not contact me through my workplace again. Use email only. No insults, just a boundary." Then her sister, Talia, texted me. "Bri said you left without talking. What happened?" I kept it simple. "I'm not going to pull you into it. I'm safe. I moved out. I wish you well." That was it. 2 days later, Calvin handed me an envelope that had arrived at his place for me. Brianna had mailed it there because she must have looked up my address change from a shared settings screen we used for deliveries. Inside was a handwritten letter and a printed screenshot of a text conversation with her ex, like she was presenting evidence in court. The screenshot showed him saying, "We should celebrate old times." She replied, "Only to talk." Then he wrote, "Bramble House at 7:45, like the old anniversary." She responded with a heart emoji. I sat on Calvin's guest bed and looked at the paper until it stopped being shocking and just became information. This was the part where some people would explode, or post it online, or try to teach a lesson. I didn't do any of that. I did the boring, effective things. I changed passwords on any account that had ever been logged into on that iPad. I removed my payment method from the shared grocery app. I put a note on my credit file to require verification for new accounts, because breakups make people unpredictable even if they aren't malicious. I emailed the landlord with a clear statement and asked for a written acknowledgement. He replied within a day. Everything stayed documented. Then the quiet karma arrived, not because I arranged it, but because life does math. Brianna's ex didn't become her second chance. He became her problem. Talia told Calvin's wife, who told Calvin, who told me gently one evening while we stood in his kitchen. I heard through my wife's circle. Brianna's been upset. Apparently that guy asked her to put his hotel charges on her card because his company reimbursement was delayed. I didn't celebrate, I didn't smirk, I just nodded once like someone hearing a weather report. A week later, Brianna emailed me again. Different tone, less anger, more panic. Evan, can we talk about the apartment? I might need to move sooner than I thought. I replied once, everything I'm responsible for is in writing with the landlord. I will pay through April 30th as stated. After that, it's not my lease obligation. I hope you find a solution. She responded with a longer email full of emotion and accusations, then followed it with a short one. Please, he's not what I thought. That was the truth finally surfacing, not remorse for disrespecting me, regret that her gamble didn't pay. By mid-April, my refund from the townhouse holding deposit hit my account. The bank description line read, Refund, MARISOL Properties LLC. I saved the confirmation PDF. It felt strange to be relieved about money that had been meant for our future, but relief doesn't ask permission. I found a small one-bedroom on the edge of Ardsley Park, older building, thick walls, quiet. I signed the lease alone. When I set up utilities, I did it in my name only. When I bought a couch, I bought one I could afford without splitting the cost. Every decision felt like exhaling. 2 months later, on a warm Saturday in early June, I was at a local bookstore cafe near my new place. Not a fancy one, just a calm spot with ceiling fans and a bulletin board full of community flyers. I was reading, Milo asleep at my feet, when I saw her reflection in the glass pastry case. Brianna stood behind me holding a paper cup, like she'd been rehearsing what to say. Evan, she said softly. I turned polite, no hatred, no longing, just recognition. Hi, I said. She looked thinner, tired. Her eyes searched my face for a crack. I didn't know you came here, she said. I live nearby, I replied. She swallowed. Can we talk, just for a minute? I closed my book with one finger holding my place. About what? Her voice shook. I made a mistake. I handled everything wrong. I don't know what I thought. I nodded once, I know. She leaned in a little. I miss you. I miss how safe everything felt. I kept my tone calm. Safety isn't something you get to break and then request again. Her eyes filled. I'm not asking for everything. I just want another chance. I stood slowly because Milo stirred, and I didn't want him tangling in the chair legs. I clipped his leash on with a quiet click. I hope you're okay, I said, but I'm not available. She blinked fast. That's it. That's it, I replied. I didn't add a lecture. I didn't remind her of the reservation note. I didn't mention the townhouse or the photos or the moving deposit. I didn't need to. Those were facts she would live with whether I spoke them or not. I walked out into the bright afternoon with Milo beside me, and the air felt like it had room again. If you've been in a relationship where respect got treated like a negotiable item, tell me what you did. I read the comments, and I know a lot of you have been through something like this.